What's good, YouTube Live fam? Just pulling up some music here. Gonna be another grind session, 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off. And I have a lot of work to do, as I'm sure many of you do, especially on a Sunday if you're watching this live. One of the things that I'm going to talk about during at least the first break, as well as always getting into the comments and checking in on you guys and talking to you guys. But one of the things I'm going to talk about is about how to keep motivation. I think that there's a science to it. Some people aren't just born more motivated than others. There's a science to it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But of course, first, let me get some lo-fi vibes going. And as always, first thing that we have to do is put this away. Phones go up and hopefully not to be seen until we are done studying, even during the breaks. Let's go. Only God Daily. Lock in. Jacob Davey. Let's go. Saved from a little doom scroll. Let's go. We're going to crank out some good work, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of like neurotransmitters and stuff in the brain that I think will help you guys know how to stay motivated, how to avoid the doom scroll and all that kind of stuff. I'm reading a book called The Dose Effect right now, and I'm learning about it. So I'll share some of the things I'm learning, but after we do one quick 45-minute grind session. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right. We are one work session in. Let's go. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Let's go. Lock in. AR, I'm definitely tired. I actually just had a little bit of caffeine. I usually don't try to drink caffeine in the afternoon, but it is one of those days. So you picked up on that very well. Definitely a little tired. Leonda, lock in. Let's go. Yav, gonna do some dishes. Migueli, great idea to do the study with me. Appreciate you. Virad, what's up? Chat, this is real. Yuchi, glad that this could get you through. A little grind session. 500 cars is eating. You're crushing it. Rhonda is asking how you crush it. So you're absolutely crushing it. Let's see. Ari Elise. Just wanted to say thank you. Well, I appreciate you, and I'm trying to be as genuine as possible. So I appreciate you that you recognize that and that this stuff has been helpful for you. Ferris, what's up? Gonna get some secondary work done. Let's go. Ooh, fingers crossed for Mayo. Let's go. One of the things that I wanted to, Only God Daily, what's up? I'm studying orthopedics, really the only thing I ever study. So it's either usually studying orthopedics or doing orthopedic surgery research. So that will be a consistent, everything related to ortho. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about is something that I'm kind of diving deep in. You guys will probably hear all of the things I'm learning more than, when I actually put videos out and that kind of stuff, because this is live and you guys are just learn what I'm learning live. Let me put on our break before this break goes further than it needs to. But one of the things that I'm currently reading is this book by TJ Power. It's called The Dose Effect, and it's just all about kind of dopamine, serotonin, all the neuromodulating chemicals in the brain that affect our mood, motivation, all those kind of things. Right now, we're talking about motivation, and I think that's a particularly important facet of life for all of us as we're studying, getting work done, all of those kind of things. How can we actually stay motivated during this time? There is a science behind staying motivated. There's not the idea of like some people are just more motivated than others and that kind of thing. People's motivation can grow and people's motivation can shrink depending on behaviors. And so if you want to be somebody who is kind of always motivated, always energized to go, there's behaviors that you should be doing on a daily basis and behaviors that you should be avoiding on a daily basis. Excuse me, sorry guys. There are essentially the molecule that is related to motivation is dopamine. This is the thing that's back thousands of years ago when we were hunters and gatherers. It was the molecule that convinced humans to get out, go and hunt stuff, gather food, do all the things that kept the human alive. And so it's the same molecule in the brain. Our brains are relatively unchanged from that time period. And the purpose of that is to motivate us to achieve the goals that we want. Historically, that goal is survival, but nowadays it's passing your tests, writing those secondary essays, doing those 500 Anki cards, all those kind of things. And there's now, because of the way that society is organized, there's a lot of things that actually make the levels of dopamine in our brain plummet. And then we start telling ourselves that we're just not motivated or not motivated people by nature, which is not the case. So what happens is our brains are basically at this baseline level of dopamine, and the brain loves homeostasis. It loves being even. When you do things that make the dopamine in your brain immediately skyrocket, what that does is it shoots that level of dopamine up. It's going to make you feel really good for a brief moment. And then that massive level, that massive change from the baseline is going to be equally massive in the negative direction. And so you're going to get an equally massive drop from the baseline, and then you're going to feel crummy. And so one of the behaviors that all of us can probably resonate with is doom scrolling. If you are on social media and you grab your phone, for the first, few minutes of that, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like, I'm just relaxed and I feel great and life is good. And, and then 30 minutes or an hour, however long you doom scroll for goes by, and then you feel like absolute, crap. So there are a few behaviors that cause this immediate boost in dopamine followed by immediate crash in dopamine. The problem when you have immediate crashes in dopamine is you're actually lowering your baseline levels. And so you want those to be as high as possible. You always want to have a high baseline level of dopamine because that's how you just stay consistently motivated. But when you're doing this kind of super high jump up, super low fall down, then that baseline is lowering. And then even when you're not doom scrolling, you just don't have that much motivation because that baseline has dropped. Other behaviors that affect this are things like medicines in the chat. I definitely have been a little motivated recently, but it's because I'm learning this kind of stuff. Medicine's talking about how I pulled a 24-hour night shift, came home, studied, hung out with the kids, did some church, washed the dog, all those kind of things. I appreciate the shout out from the wifey. But a few things that you can do to basically consistently elevate the dopamine in your brain, raise that baseline higher to stay at a good high level consistently, is all the things that you already know what to do. The brain basically works by when we do things that are relatively difficult for us but are good for us, then it is a slow build in dopamine, and that slow rise allows the baseline to slowly elevate instead of up and down. Exercise, eating good, sleeping well, all of those things, all the things that you know to do. But the things that will drop it, which I think is more valuable to learn because we know the good things to do, but the things that will drop it, social media, scrolling, those kind of things. Online shopping is one. Now that I know Madison's in here, I'm just saying online shopping. No, I'm playing. She actually doesn't shop that much. I probably online shop more than she does. Sugary foods. Sugar is another one that's going to give you the quick spike and then the quick fall. Any types of, drugs will do that. Alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, all of those kind of things. And if you think about it, we've all had the experience of, if you're on social media, if you're eating tons of sugary junk food, it feels great and then it feels absolutely terrible. So we know the experience of this dopamine high, low kind of experience. We've experienced that firsthand. But now we can put the two things together of, okay, the more that I'm experiencing this roller coaster ride, the lower my baseline is going, and then my baseline motivation is going to be significantly affected. And so that's just something to consider. Think about the behaviors, and I think that there are 5 main behaviors probably. Like online shopping, gambling is another one, sugary foods, social media. There was one other one. Oh, and then like pornography. All of the things like that social society is normalizing and making, the quick ups and down, that kind of stuff. Minimize those as much as you can, and you'll start to notice that your baseline level of dopamine will rise in the brain consistently, and then you'll realize that you're just more of a motivated person. So that is my 2 cents of kind of what I'm learning. Hopefully you guys found that a little bit helpful. I'll try to do something like that with whatever I'm learning, something that could be helpful for everybody during these study with me sessions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little piece. If there's any questions about that, let me know. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Any Mayo specific tips recommend about writing off the top of your head? Whenever you're writing secondary essays for medical school, always find ways to make your personal values align with the program's values. For Mayo specifically, it's this needs of the patient come first. So if you're able to tell stories, answer questions in a way that highlights that you resonate, that you share that personal value of wanting the needs of patients to come before your own, the readers of your application will recognize that as aligning with the school's values. And that's how you basically win with secondary essays. Any good websites for getting knowledge about neurosurgery? Unfortunately, I don't know too much about that just because I'm in orthopedic surgery. So I know a lot of things related to gaining knowledge in orthopedic surgery, not as well versed with neurosurgery. But the things that I always start with are YouTube, honestly. There are great educators on YouTube, and people that you find on YouTube will likely share resources that they're learning from. So that's always kind of, a good place to start. Let's see. Yeah, struggling with that average screen time of like less than an hour is insane. The average screen time for people nowadays is around 7 hours. So you're actually like crushing it. At least let me see. Yeah, I wish my average screen time was like 30 to 60 minutes long. My average screen time is probably like 6 hours. Let's see. All right, we try to minimize, specific health-related topics just in the chat, just for your personal, safety, protection, things like that. But of course, if you're feeling ill, the hospital is the best place to go. Are extracurriculars really that important to getting into a BSMD program? Definitely. Extracurriculars tell programs who you are as a person. GPAs, test scores, those kind of things tell who you are as a student, who you are in the academic world. But academics as a whole is actually appreciating more of the person behind you and not just the student behind you more. So the extracurriculars are things that you do in your free time actually matter. It shows what you care about. And that brings me to this question, Rick the Sizzler. What do I do outside of work? Primarily, I spend time with my family, my wife, and 2 kids. I have 2 sons, a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So spending as much time with them as possible. And then when I'm not doing that, I enjoy education and I enjoy mentorship and basically just teaching the things that I learn, as you probably could tell from my soliloquy earlier. But, so that usually comes in the form of content creation in some capacity. I think that's the digital age's way of education. I think we're going to transition more and more towards education being taking place online through digital platforms and through content creation, and that's where I get my fulfillment. So those 2 things are really what I spend the most amount of time doing. One reminder too, I say this during all of my streams. When you're studying, you want to avoid your phone during break times. There is a lot of good data that says if you are going to your phone after you are studying, then you're actually not giving the brain the rest and recovery that it needs in order to remember all of the studying that you just did. So there's actually Andrew Huberman, he's a neuroscientist out of Stanford. He literally recommends just staring at a wall, just not doing anything, which is hard for us. But at least the least thing that you can do is, scroll Instagram. Or avoid scrolling Instagram, I should say. There was one story that one of my mentors talked to me about, and he was boarding a plane, sat next to a relatively elderly gentleman, 60s to 70s year old, and it was a far plane trip from, I think it was Minnesota to I think California or something like that. 3 hours or so flight. And, he's getting himself situated. He's by himself on the plane. He's, getting his laptop out and putting his AirPods in and trying to get himself situated to get some work done on this plane, and looks over to the side of him. He's sitting in the aisle seat and he's looking over to the gentleman, this 67-year-old man, sitting in the middle right next to him. And he's just sitting there. He's not getting, a laptop out. He's not getting his phone out. He's not putting headphones in, which I can imagine doing on a plane. I've been on a lot of planes recently, and my go-to, zone out, put headphones in at least. He's not even getting a book out. He is just sitting there. And so my mentor is thinking to himself, okay, I wonder, this guy's, older guy, probably just gonna go to sleep. Maybe he's, grew up in a different age where he doesn't need to have headphones in on a plane to go to sleep. So he just kind of locks back in on his own work and starts doing some stuff. And the plane takes off, and he's, still working, but occasionally just looking over at the guy in the middle. And this guy is not sleeping at all. He's not on his phone. He doesn't have headphones in. He's not even reading a book. He's just looking straight at the front of or the back of the seat in front of him. Occasionally looking around and doing things like that. He's not having a medical emergency or like a stroke or anything like that, but he is essentially at peace, not doing anything. And he did this for 3 hours. He didn't do anything but just sit and be present in what was going on and just sit for 3 hours. And the story makes you think that this person is probably either having a medical emergency or has some type of cognitive, like something, either deficit or supernatural ability, because sitting for 3 hours not doing anything is something that all of us cannot do, I'm sure, just because of the day and age that we live in. But what he was able to do for his brain is incredibly beneficial, and the brain actually wants that time of no input. And I struggle finding time of appreciating no input. So if you are in between study sessions, you can at least do 15 minutes if you think about this old gentleman on the plane doing 3 hours. Let's see, we got 45 seconds left. I'll try to crank through some of these more messages in the chat. I love the messages, guys. Keep them coming. Any opinion on psych as a subject of importance? Psych is definitely a subject of importance. All the stuff that I'm currently talking about is related to the field of psych. So even if it's not directly going to be related to your work, it's going to be related to your personal growth. So highly recommend it. Favorite advice for pre-med, low GPA? Yeah, definitely recommend crushing the MCAT. If you crush the MCAT, you'll be able to show that you can excel academically, and that will oftentimes balance out a low GPA. Recommend note-taking in medical school. I personally don't take notes. I realized that when I took notes, I never reviewed them, and I was never as present during the actual lectures. So I don't take notes. I use other kind of ways of studying, mostly spaced repetition and active recall with Anki and practice questions. So I personally was not a note taker. Am I ever going to use cars in medical school? Absolutely not. But one thing that you will use in medical school, Jacob, is having to force yourself to learn and do things that you don't enjoy and that you probably won't use again. I had to force myself to learn, OB-GYN and neurology, and well, I guess I sometimes use neurology with the talk that I gave a little bit earlier, but all those kind of things. And now I just work on the musculoskeletal system. So it's almost a consistent part of the academic experience. For students, how many hours are they supposed to study per day? There's no specific number behind this. It depends on how efficient you are. First of all, some students can study 3-4 hours a day and get way more done than students who study 12 hours a day. So the amount of time is not what's important. Being efficient with your time is what is best, and finding ways to study efficiently with routine is what will ultimately get you to where you need to do. But you study until you're done. And in the world of academics, you're rarely ever done. So you rarely ever learned everything, but you just study until you feel like you're good for the day. On my personal experience in medical school, I probably studied for, 1 to 2 hours in the morning and 1 to 2 hours in the evening every single day, but trying to use very efficient study habits. So it's dependent, but with that, we will jump right back in to another 45-minute work sesh. I appreciate the engagement in the chat. Looking forward to catching up with more questions and stuff like that after this next work session. All right, work session number 2 in the books. Let's go. Hey, yeah, this is lo-fi, kind of like lo-fi hip-hop beats. It's my go-to for studying. Definitely my go-to. There's actually like a little bit of science on like studying and people who like studying with music and stuff, and people who are more like distractible and, you know, ADHD or, you know, whatever kind of thing, oftentimes are actually more productive and more effective with studying with music. But if you're like somebody who is just naturally laser focused, you know, it's impossible to distract you, those kind of things, then actually it's probably better to avoid music. I'm clearly a distractible person, so this helps for me. Let's go. Pre-med new subscriber. Oh, let's go, Joe. Wishing you all of the best. You're gonna crush it. Always never hesitate to let me know how I can support you, help you, answer questions, all of that throughout your journey. All right, so I'm gonna put on our 15-minute break timer. This is a good time to go to the bathroom, stretch your legs, do all of that kind of stuff. And oops, I gotta put it on the screen. There it goes. I'll see you guys in a bit. 4 minutes left in this break. Chat, you see that I literally put a blanket skirt on. Every time I sit in my office, I probably have a blanket skirt on. It's kind of cold in my basement. If you ever watch any of my videos, you won't know because you won't see it, but I probably have a blanket skirt on. All right. Hey, yeah, we can, or I think that's how you pronounce it, but you can definitely listen to lo-fi music, instrumental music, classical music while doing any type of studying, including practice questions. The key is not listening to music with words, because then that will actually distract your brain and you'll focus more on the words than on the practice questions and flashcards or whatever you're doing for studying. But definitely can still do instrumental type music, no words, and study. But the most important thing is just experimenting to see what you find most valuable. Let's see. Put the work computer down. Bring the iPad out. Hopefully everybody got a little bit of rest, moved the body, avoided the phones. You guys can see the phone. Let's see. Phone is hidden away. I need to keep this on so that I can actually see the time, because last time I did not see that the time had gone off and made everybody work for a little bit. Definitely an Anki over Quizlet person. As always, feel free, throw messages in the chat. I will get to them, and I love engaging with you guys in the chat, saying what's up, answering any questions that you guys have that I can answer. But we will do that during the next break. I've moved. I've gotten some bladder stuff bladdered out. I peed, and so now I'm fresh, and we'll be able to stick around during the next break. So look forward to talking to you guys during that. But right now, it is back to the grind. 45 minutes. Let's get it. All right. Another work session done. Congratulations to everyone who's here, who's investing in their work, investing their time to get better. The better we get ourselves, the better we can make the world. So I appreciate you guys joining me. One thing that I want to do more of is a little self-promo, but I wait until I'm 4 hours into this to do that. Let's see if I can actually figure out how to do this. Let's see here. Just want to show you guys a resource that I've really enjoyed making and putting a lot of time and effort and energy into that you may be interested in. So let's see if I can figure out how to do this. All right. This is a course that I made. This is probably the most amounts of time, effort, and energy that I've put into any education online. So if you guys like any of the ways that I teach or any of the topics that I talk about, I really think that you guys would absolutely love this course. So what this is it's a 30-day challenge where every day for 30 days, you'll get a short video. It's like 3 to 5 minutes. And you can just do all these things on your phone, super short video. And then there'll be a little homework basically that I walk you through that go over not random, but various different principles of kind of just performance academically as well as personal growth. And the way that we work through this is actually through my personal Notion workspace. So you'll get access to my Notion workspace, and then you will also kind of get guidance on how you can personalize it to your needs. This is basically where I have everything from notes related to school, or at least resources and things like that related to like my medical school when I was doing that, residency right now, all of my content creation things, just everything. It's like my second brain. And so I walk you through creating that for yourself to help keep you organized and everything like that. Here are a few people who have taken the course, just a few kind of testimonials that I find were really powerful. One of the undergrad students said, whether you're struggling with motivation, seeking to improve study habits, or aiming to excel academically, this course offers invaluable guidance and support. Medical student said, I recommend this to anyone who wants to become more organized and build systems that will carry you to achieve anything. So this can be found. There is a link in the description to all of the resources that I have. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to this one. You can hear a little bit from people who have taken it, and then you can see here just a little bit about what this Notion workspace actually looks like. So you can see I think, the best second brain on the planet, but obviously I'm a little biased. And so if you guys are interested in any of that, definitely check out the link. This is one of the few kind of paid resources that I have created, but because I'm so confident that it would be life-changing for you, of course. If you don't absolutely love it, then I will give you all your money back. So hopefully you guys resonate with some of that. I'll probably try to just promote something that I put a lot of effort and time into more often. My wife tells me I should do that more. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this study with me session. I think I'm going to wrap it up now. And but I will be back. We'll be back soon. We're going to be doing this probably at least on a weekly basis, at least once a week. So it's good kind of motivation for me and accountability for me. And this community that we're building, this kind of live community, you guys are like kind of a separate community from, all the other stuff that I'm doing. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time and studying with me today. And of course I have to end like I always do, which is, as always,